Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, there's a groundbreaking study going on right now that deals with blood pressure in the brain. We're going to be talking to the great Phil Hurley with London Broadcasting because he's participating in this study. We'll hear his journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So I read recently that the number of dementia cases in this country are expected to skyrocket, double in the next 30 years. And so it's affecting every single family in America. Phil Hurley is in the studio. He's the COO of London Broadcasting, and you're participating in a groundbreaking study. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, Jeff, I'm one of, hopefully, and I know they're not at that number yet, 300 that would be in the study. And volunteered just by a phone call to my house. And I think it was because I've had a 82-year-old brother that passed away with dementia, Alzheimer's, and my mother did at age 86. And I think somehow they contacted me with that and asked if I would volunteer. And I'd done one, 3 years ago with, of all people, Apple, where I wore Apple watches everywhere I went, and it was also a brain study. And so I was familiar with what they were trying to do. And when they said, do you want to do this? I said, I'd be happy to. And they said, well, that's 2 years. And you're going to go through a lot of testing. And I said, I'm retired and I have the time, and I think it would be a good thing. Anything we can do to develop and look for, maybe not cure, but at least better control of the advancement of Alzheimer's.
And let's talk about the science and what they're hoping to achieve, because blood pressure in the brain, there's a relationship.
Yes, and again, you're talking to a participant, not one of the doctors, so I can kind of tell you what I've gained. I've been in the study now a little over a year, and the whole premise is Dr. Zhang is the one running the study, and then Dr. Kelly. It's with Southwestern Medical and with Texas Health. They're doing it together. And what it is, they want to know the effects of blood pressure as far as advancement of dementia and Alzheimer's. And what they're thinking and they're trying to prove is if you can control your blood pressure, you can control the advancement of this terrible disease. And so what I did was went for the initial screening and then got selected based on my blood pressure. I don't have high blood pressure, but I had it at a level that I would qualify to be in the actual, not the control group, but the actual one that would get medication. Yes. And would be tested. And so after that, we began that process, and I'm happy to go into some of that we do.
Perfect. All right, hold that thought, because there's a great piece that NBC5 did not too long ago.
Just recently.
Yeah,
right.
Let's go ahead and roll that.
Dementia cases in the U.S. are estimated to double by the year 2060, according to recent studies. But Dallas researchers hope to stop that trend, and you can help.
Come in this way.
The roles have reversed for Deborah Morgan Stokes, who now spends most of her hours taking care of the woman who spent a lifetime taking care of her mother.
Sometimes I forget as a caregiver that mom is not the mother who raised me cognitively. And I have to learn to speak differently. I have to choose words differently.
I might know him.
Dementia is slowly taking away her mother's mind. It's a disease that runs in Deborah's family. It also afflicted her grandfather. So when Deborah found an ad to be a part of dementia research, she jumped at the chance.
So I thought, well, why not give it a try?
She enrolled in a UT Southwestern trial looking into the correlation between hypertension and dementia. It's already known that lowering blood pressure can lower dementia risk by about 15%. But lead researcher Dr. Rong Zhang wants to know how and if there's a way to lower someone's blood pressure to a level that could completely prevent cognitive decline.
Can we do something early on to prevent this disease happening later in their life, rather than just go to see a doctor, you have memory complaints? That's probably too late.
The trial follows participants with hypertension for 2 years. They control their blood pressure with medication and then use cutting-edge brain imaging to see how it affects the accumulation of tau and amyloid, the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. The research is part of a wave of brain health studies that has prompted state leaders to push for a $3 billion state fund to advance dementia research. Voters will decide on that measure November 4th.
I expect in the next 3 to 5 years, we will have important answers as to the success of these research interventions. And I think that just given the scope of dementia as a public health problem in the United States, I think once we have those findings, we will rapidly translate those into public health implementation.
In a nutshell,
that implementation could mean a new standard of care for people like Deborah, who have hypertension and a family history of dementia. Research with promise she's proud to be a part of.
For folks to be willing to participate in clinical trials, not only to help themselves, but especially to help future generations. It's not scary, it's really helping.
The trial is currently enrolling participants, and they hope that minorities enroll to help them shed light on how high blood pressure affects Latinos and African Americans' risk for dementia.
And Phil, obviously you're not a scientist, but the idea is that inflammation is really what puts pressure on the brain. So yes, by reducing the blood pressure, you can actually perhaps curb it?
Slow the progression. You know, there's not a cure, but maybe this study and the findings will lead to possibly preventing it in the older generation. I was told that I'm 77.
You look great.
Thanks. And I was told that if they studied 100 participants that was 77 years old, 25 of them would have amyloids in the brain. Mm. And that doesn't mean that you have dementia, or it just may mean you have a higher risk of developing it over the years. Mm. And so I've learned so much from Dr. Kelly, who is now my doctor, and I've met with Dr. Zhang, who explained the study to me. And you know, it's a very interesting subject because it's getting, as you could see, the state, I think, that says they're going to vote.
Yes.
And that proposition did pass, and so there will be funds to further it. And so it's just a kind of when you have family, like I think you do, suffering from this, it's just something that you've got some hope and prayer that it'll develop into something that's valuable for the rest of the country.
Yes. So. We've got some video from our library that we're going to put up on the screen while we're talking. When I think about like how to mitigate the risks, you know, I think it was Aristotle who said that food is your medicine. And so it's a large part of blood pressure can be controlled by diet. Is that right?
Yes, yes. And kind of as a partner to that, diet has an effect, social interaction has an effect, alcohol has an effect. Mm-hmm. All of those are negative as far as how you may develop this terrible disease, and you can control it with not just medicine, you can control it with lifestyle.
Nice.
And even I have, when I started the study, and you go through cognitive, you go through vascular tests, and then you go MRIs and PET scans, I was the first one that has amyloids. I have it. And so with Dr. Crilley, after studying my case outside the trial, he says, you have some cognitive decrease, but I don't suggest you do anything but your lifestyle. And he said, as you get further along, there are pills that can slow it down. And he said, but you don't have dementia and you don't have Alzheimer's. And the recent pills that they prescribe sometimes have some severe side effects.
Is that right?
Yeah. And so he said, you can come see me in a year, which was good news.
Wow.
So,
wow.
But I'm still in the study for another year.
So we have about 2 minutes left, Phil. So give some wisdom to the person at home who's worried about this. And I think, to be honest, anybody over 60 probably needs to be worried about it.
The wisdom is lifestyle, and if you or your spouse or your family detects some cognitive decrease, I don't mean forgetting people's names. If they recognize that, and you need to be able to talk with your family about it, and the sooner that you can get to the fact that is that a problem or not, the better the delay or the length of time that you will be able to deal with it.
Yes.
And so that's the biggest advice, is just pay attention. And it is a growing problem in this country. And if you once you determine that, you go in and you get tested, cognitive is the best way, where they give you the test.
Yeah.
The blood test is not going to do it. It's
right.
That is just to see if the effects of high blood pressure promotes it. And I'm just very impressed with the whole study and the fact that I've gotten several other folks in the study, and it's not a full-time job, but you have to give up some time because you're going to be there for a while.
Absolutely. Phil, thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom with us. We're going to end with his LinkedIn page so you can get in touch with him. The great Phil Hurley. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
You bet.
Pleasure to be here. Good to see you too.
Yeah, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.